kind of the way we've been playing the last few weeks. We've been really efficient offensively and defensively, and I thought it was important for us to get up early. You know, I know they're a running team, and hopefully put a little bit of pressure back on them, and we were able to do that early. So, but 77, big surprise to me.
What's the biggest thing that stands out of this whole thing today? Biggest, yeah.
Out of today?
Yeah.
I thought up front it was going to be a little bit more of a battle. But again, our kids up front, both offensively and defensively, did a great job today. And, you know, our passing game was there too. So, you know, as they kept getting guys closer to the box, we were able to do that. Pretty efficient today as well. So just a matter of being really efficient. You know, we didn't hurt ourselves. The early penalty on the first drive, that hurt us. But after that, we took care of the ball and didn't hurt ourselves.
Well, you seem to set that tone. It was like the second drive. You went around the left side. You could have gone out of bounds. All of a sudden, you cut it back up. Ran over 2 or 3 kids and went for 34 yards. Was that a tone setter? Was that a statement run? Or just talk about that, especially coming off the last year?
Yeah, I think that was a great tone setter, especially for everybody. I kind of got everybody fired up after that. Our first drive wasn't too great. So I think after I got that run and scrambled a little bit, and we got a big gain, I think I kind of got everybody fired up, a little bit motivated. So it gave us a little bit. Then we started rolling from there.
Everybody talk about you guys been on a mission this year. I guess mission complete now?
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
No scouting report Monday.
No.
So you're grinning now. Is it time to grin?
Yeah, I can smile now.
You walk a fine line where you took the knee with a couple minutes to go. Talk about that a little bit, because, I mean, you want to, but you don't want to.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And I, discussed it with the coaches on the phones. I really didn't want to score anymore. I mean, that's not the way we do things. It's not the way our coaching staff does. It's not the way we just don't handle ourselves that way. And I know you can look at it both ways, but we thought as a coaching staff that was a better way to go at that time. I didn't want 80 points on the
I
board.
understand, but it's one of those things where
Yeah, and that's what we discussed. And I respect those guys. Those guys came here and they played really hard. I understand. I was a little worried about once we took 4 knees too, and I got kind of second guess myself. But better that than score again, I think.
Second guessed yourself for just not letting your JVs get a chance in that.
That taking 4 knees, some people take that the wrong way as well. So that was kind of the concern there.
Jordan, can you talk a little bit about the line in front of you today? I thought the offensive line really controlled things.
Yeah, the offensive line did a great job on all the pass protections and all the runs we did. I mean, they were getting all their blocks today, and they were just blowing their defensive line off the ball. So couldn't ask anything more from our offensive line, and they were just opening up huge holes for us to run through.
Talk about stopping the run, Chris. I mean, you'd rather prefer playing a team like this than a spread team.
I've said throughout the past couple of weeks that I like playing run teams because there's not as much of a chance as that one big play. They have to put a drive together, and personally I like the hard-nosed aspect of it. I like hitting people. That's my favorite part of football. So, and I think up front we have some guys that can really control the line of scrimmage, and I think that really attributes to how well we handle running teams.
In all honesty, coach or even the player, did you guys see anything on film that intimidated you? I mean, in all honesty, or did you come in thinking if you take care of the ball and do what you normally do, you'd be successful here today? In all honesty.
I always watch film, and I'm not one to sit there and point out all the negative things they do because any given week a team can put together a great game and you can put together a bad game, and so you can't prepare as we got in the bag because we did that last year, and you saw what happened. I think everyone in here did, and I think this entire year I don't think anyone overlooked one film session they watched. I don't think there was many people sat up there and point out the flaws in other teams. I think a lot of people sat up there and said, you know what, they do that well, we need to stop that. So I think that attributes to how we played this entire season as well.
Was it last year that kept the level of complacency down? Because a lot of people around the state think you guys can compete in a couple other divisions this weekend. Is that the mission? Has that kept the level of complacency or arrogance down for you guys?
Last year. We're talking about last year's
Last
game.
year helped keep down the arrarrogance.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing what happened.
There's a lot of times you kind of get a big head. You have an undefeated season in our tough conference, and you come in and we didn't have very many close games. We didn't have any close games in the playoffs. So, you have a tendency to get a big head about stuff. But that's the last thing you want to do because, you know, they had playmakers, they had kids that could throw the ball, catch the ball, and run the ball. And if you get a big head about it, you know, they're going to take advantage of that, and they're going to, you know, put points up on the board, and at the end of the game, might not be ahead. So you can't, you know, you got to keep your head in check.
Did you think about that last 5 seconds before this game today, last year?
I don't think there's been a day in my life since then that I haven't thought about it. You know, I don't dream much, but when I do, that comes up. So
That was
a dream, or?
It was a lot of motivation, especially going back in the weight room last winter and through the summer. But for the most part, I'd have to say once our season got rolling, we kind of focused on our positives, what we were doing this year, and the closer we got to this day, everybody was reminding of us, and so we talked a little bit about it, but we didn't. I mean, it was.
didn't control the way we
Yeah,
played
it
today.
was just a matter of, you know, do what we keep doing well and concentrate on what we're doing well now instead of worrying about what so much happened last year. I'm sure it was in the back of these guys' minds a little bit, maybe a little bit more than the rest of us, but we tried to focus on what was going on now.
Todd, in terms of the league, we talked a little bit downstairs. Will a lot of people be surprised when they see Coldwater?
I wish Coldwater the best, and I tell you what, they stuck it to us pretty darn good. I mean, you know, it was 14-0 is a battle, and we scored late to go up 14. So they're a tough team, and they were just hitting their stride, and I think they're getting better each week. So we wish them the best, obviously, and hope they come home with another trophy to the MAC. And you know, they go through the same rigor we do. It's you got to come to play every week.
Congratulations.
Thank you very
Talk
much.
about the MAC, Todd. I know people get tired of hearing about it, but this is the 20th state title for the MAC.
I know, and that's, I've had that question a couple times already tonight, and I know people outside of our league get tired of hearing us talk about it. But even our schedule together, we open up with LCC and Hillsdale, and those two guys played in the regional final in Hillsdale, I thought LCC surprised a whole lot of people how they showed up and played against Ursuline last week. You got Minster in playoffs, you got Marion Local, Coldwater playing tomorrow. Marion Local, Anna. I mean, you got to show up and you got to prepare each week, to be in those games, and your kids have to be prepared. I mean, our kids, they got to do everything, every little thing possible to get through our league. And, it's a great preparation because we know we're seeing playoff caliber teams every Friday night.
Yeah, I think it shows testament too into what Minster did this year. They went 5-5 in our league, and they get to the playoffs, and they play some teams that they think they have a pretty good chance against. And it's just a testament to, the type of schedule we go through. We have a lot of playoff teams, and any team in our league any given year can beat you, and any team in our league can make the playoffs any given year. So,
Jordan, talk about the mission that you were on. Do you feel you think something's been lifted off your back from last 2-3 minutes of last year's games have been lifted off your back now?
I don't think it's ever going to be lifted off my back just because I just feel real bad about how the seniors went out last year and how we didn't get it done for them. So I don't know if that's ever going to be lifted off my back, but I think this win's going to help a lot.
Kind of talk with Chris, about Joel last year. I know you felt almost as bad for him as he did. Do you feel like you kind of made it up for him?
yeah, Joel's my big brother. We've gone through plenty of fights together, and I don't think there's any close relationship I've had. And I was given the opportunity to wear a different number this year, and I thought 13 would be a great way to represent him. And every game he was there to give me encouragement. He was there to watch, and I think this was the least I could do to try to help him and getting over what happened last year. Because after that happens, you kind of feel you let your older brother down. Someone who's always there for you. You get a chance to back him up, and it kind of hurts when you can't come through. And this is the least I could do to kind of help him out. So.
Talk about being second-time Division VI Defensive Player of the Year. Maybe a little bit different feeling this year than last year.
It's I don't like getting too wrapped up in the rewards because our defense is a team defense. Everyone on our front line makes a lot of plays, and everyone in our linebacker crew makes a lot of plays. I couldn't do what I did the past couple of years without our defensive linemen, and Dylan Dancer especially, and Kyle Newmeyer had a great season this year. Our defensive linemen keep offensive linemen off me, and our other linebackers make the tailbacks cut back right into me. So there's not just me going into that. There's team, and there's coaches, and all my buddies backing me up. So.
Chris, talk about Joey Grubenoff coming back from the ACL. He tears it in week 10. I look up in the second quarter, and he's throwing blocks for Evan, turning around the corner. He must have played 2.5, 3 quarters today. What did that mean to have Joey back?
I don't know.
Playing with an ACL.
I don't know how much pain he was in, but I'm sure that he couldn't feel too much when he was making those blocks. It's every kid's dream to win a state title when you're a senior, and he was not going to miss this game for anything. He'd find a doctor that would clear him, and he got a brace, and he was ready to go. He practiced with us this week, and he came out today and he played. He didn't just go out there to get a couple plays of state game. He went after it. So.
Did that surprise you, Todd, how far he was able to go today?
Not really. I mean, I guess you could break it down at injuries into copers and non-copers, and Joey's a coper. He's a hard-nosed, tough kid, and he's put in a lot of time to earn his spot on this team, and it didn't surprise me one bit, because I had asked him about a week and a half ago what his goal was, and he says, I'd like to play every other series if possible. And we said, well, we kind of see how the game goes and how you're feeling, and he practiced really well this week, and it's good to see him get back out there. He deserved it. I mean, he worked hard enough. He needed to be in that game.
He did. His sophomore year too, he had shoulder problems, and he fought through that. And he's not one to make excuses. My shoulder hurts, I can't play. It's he wants to play. That's what he wants to do, and he showed it today. So.
Any comment on Ty? 3 interceptions back there, rushing touchdown. I mean, the kid had a great game, I thought.
Ty Bergfeld?
Yeah.
That was his 55th straight start for us, consecutive start.
He's
somehow we're gonna miss that guy. I can tell you that.
I don't think anyone really gives him as much credit as he deserves. I've never had to worry about a pass coverage all year because I always know that I have Ty back there to back me up. And it's so reassuring to know that if someone breaks a big run on you and you miss a tackle, that he's fast enough to catch anybody. And he's always been a team player. I don't think he's ever gotten as much credit as he deserves because he's not making all the tackles, and he doesn't make as many plays as some other guys on our team, but he's one of the most valuable players, on our team, I think, receiving and, offense and defense.
Any more questions?
Congratulations, thank you.